day, my good faithful YouTube viewers and listeners. It is the Jerry Bear. Today's date is Wednesday, October 8th, 2025. Yeah, it's been a while since I've recorded a daily rant, and I just wanted to go over some things for some of my new subscribers. If you find this channel from a negative post on Facebook or even a positive post from Facebook, I welcome you here. And for those of you who may be curious as to something you read on Facebook, something horrible about me, well, I'm here to set the record straight for everybody listening to this. And all of you people who thought you were going to report my channel and have my channel taken down, 90% of you just said that you reported the channel, but yet my channel is still up and it's still active. If you had gotten that many reports into YouTube on this channel, why is my channel still up? It's a good question, and I think it deserves an honest answer. Maybe you didn't report the channel. Maybe you were just saying that to shut people up, because deep down you know, hey, he didn't inconvenience me. Why am I, But anyway, I'm here to set the record straight. If you're new to my channel, welcome. I encourage you to stick around. Look around at some of my content. If you can handle a few F words and cursing and me talking about being an atheist and having, severe depression. I was diagnosed with bipolar disorder. If you can handle all of these imperfections about me, then I welcome you to this channel, because chances are you have several to numerous imperfections about yourself, but I'm not going to judge you. I'm going to welcome you, because everybody's welcome to my channel. Everybody. So let me set the record straight. My name is Jared Fuller. My nickname is Jerry Bear. I got the nickname Jerry Bear because I am a childhood cancer survivor of Wilms tumor. As of today, October 8, 2025, as of this moment, I am a Wilms tumor survivor of 36 years. I have been raising awareness for a very long time. I took a break from about 2019 until the early part of 2025 to focus more on home life and to take care of my personal business, to get my life back in order. And I have returned to advocacy, and this September was a busy month for me. I have a lot of things going on which I'm never going to discuss publicly or openly, but I am still helping families in ways that nobody is going to know about, ever. So I'm still doing my thing out here. No one can stop me. No one can tear me down. I know there's a lot of people out there who don't like me, and I really don't care. They're on Facebook. They share posts, slandering my name and harassing me. And, well, Jared attacks cancer families. Well, let me tell you a little something. I treat everybody with decency, with love, with respect, with kindness, and understanding, especially people in the childhood cancer world. I've always been caring, kind, understanding, loving, and supportive, which is what they won't tell you now, because they have to defend their position to hate me so they don't get ousted by the bigger group. If you understand how that works, it's like cult mentality. It's a mob. You're not allowed to speak to me. You're not allowed to be friends with me. You're not allowed to have anything to do with me, because if the mob finds out that you're talking to me, they're going to oust you. So in other words, when it comes to them, I'm a liability, but I haven't done anything out of the ordinary. The only thing I've done was call people out on their bullshit, which I'm very, very, very loud about. So one of the things that you have probably seen on Facebook, and it's from a guy who called himself an advocate, an activist. He died last year. His name was Tattoo Tom. And what Tattoo Tom failed to tell everybody is we actually tried to get along prior to his death. Like right before he died, we tried to make amends. He called me on my phone. We had discussions. And I tried to make things right with him. He tried to make things right with me. And because I had mentioned something about it here on my YouTube channel, he had a shit fit. And he says, well, I asked you not to say anything. Well, why? Why? If you have that much influence over all these people, then it shouldn't have been a problem for you to say, hey, guys, I'm thinking that maybe I was wrong about Jared. He's really not a bad guy. We're talking, we're carrying on, we're trying to, reestablish a friendship. We're trying to bury the hatchet. We're trying to get along. We're trying to do better. And even if we don't become friends, we can still do what we do, and we don't have to say another word to each other or about each other. And I want to, and with all due respect to his family, his kids and his siblings and his parents and such, I feel bad for them. My heart goes out to them because they lost a father, a son, a brother, a nephew, and so on. So I sympathize especially with the kids because they lost a father. I know what it's like to lose a parent, and it sucks. As far as feeling empty or broken or bereft of Tattoo Tom's passing, no, I don't. Because right before he died, he decided that he was going to stay against me so he could keep his cult following intact. He wasn't going to throw away all of that popularity and attention over one person by trying to make things right with me. So, I sympathize with his kids, but as far as personally sympathizing or feeling bereft of his passing, I don't. I have no feeling. So that's where I stand on that, which I think is fair. So that's one thing. Another thing that that you might have read on Facebook is Jared asked a child if the chemo made them lose their pubic hair. That's one of the most disgusting claims I've ever read, because my mind doesn't think that way, first of all. Second of all, why would I need to ask something so private and personal when I myself have had chemo and radiation? I know what chemo can do. I know what radiation can do. Why would I ever ask such a question? Something that is personal, which I would never go that route. I have never in the history of my advocacy asked a child if chemo made them lose their pubes. They're kids. They don't have pubic hairs. Okay, they're prepubescent. They don't have pubic hairs. And even if they did, what do I care if chemo, made them lose their pubic hair? What do I care? I don't, because I know what chemo can do. I don't need to ask if I already know the answer. But I'm not interested in wanting to know if chemo made them lose their pubic hair. It's so stupid that someone would fabricate such a story. And when I read the thread of comments on the post where they're all bashing me and telling me they're going to kick my ass, this, that, and the other, well, first off, I say bring it. Don't hide behind a keyboard like a frightened little cowardly bitch. Bring it, and then we'll take care of it. We'll settle it. So that's number one. Number two, why don't you ask me first? Why don't you talk to me about this first? Ask me the questions. Don't just assume that something you read is true because it's from someone that he was so beloved, that you had your head so far up his ass that you saw what he had for breakfast that morning. Why don't you ask me the questions instead of just assuming, because it makes you look like a fool. Okay, so that's where I'm at with that. I don't believe anything I'm told unless I have evidence for the claim being made. And as far as that claim that you read about, Jared asked a kid if a child or if chemo made the child lose pubic hair. Well, let me point this out to you guys, and there's a lot of things that you may not know. If you look at the actual screenshot where someone made this claim, there's some information scribbled out. Don't you think the name of a parent or a victim would be relevant to an investigation of a felony that was committed by an electronic device? Don't you think the name of a victim or the parents coming forward, don't you think that would be imperative to know those things? I have not had any visits from state police. I have not been subpoenaed into court. We have no timestamp of any such event occurring. We don't have a name of a victim. We don't have the name of the parents. We don't have audio recording. We don't have video screenshots. We don't have any of these things. None of these things exist. And I know this because it never happened. But I don't waste so much time saying, hey, this never happened. I leave it to the people who are making the claims. They're making the claims that I have said and done some horrible things, making all this shit up. You do realize that when you make a claim, you have adopted a burden of proof. You need to have evidence to go with that claim. You need evidence for the claim. That's how that works. If there's not evidence for the claim, then you dismiss the claim. You reject the claim until such time as there's evidence to support it. That's how that works. That's logic, which most of these people clearly don't have. They don't have logic and critical thinking skills. They lack it, and that's the shit that I call out the most, because these people are so fucking stupid and arrogant that they don't realize they're making a logical mistake by believing something without proof, without the evidence. Claims are not evidence. You have evidence of the claim that this happened, but there's not evidence to support the claim that this happened. We're looking for the evidence to support the claim. We don't have that because it doesn't exist. So I can assure you, all of you listening to this, I don't care if you love me or hate me, it makes not one bit of difference. If you're listening to this, I can assure you that this did not happen, ever. Ever. Never, ever did this happen. Because if you come to me and if you're going to still accuse me of this, I'm going to ask you to show evidence for the claim you're making. And furthermore, if there is actual evidence for these claims, why hasn't this evidence been submitted to the police? Why hasn't anybody? Is there an investigation number? Is there a case number? Is there any information on this? Do we have an actual case pending? Again, I have not been subpoenaed into court. I live in Michigan, by the way. We don't know the name of a victim. We don't know the names of the parents. And furthermore, why would a parent just up and walk away in disgust? If someone actually said this to my child, if they were actually sitting in a video chat asking my minor child such a disgusting follow-up question, does chemo make you lose your pubic hair? I would do more than get up and walk away. I would be filing a police report. There would be the name of the police officers who took on the case. There would be names of attorneys. There would be names of sheriff's departments. There would be badge numbers and names as far as the eye can see. And there would be an actual investigation, and yet none of this evidence is to be found because there is none. Spoiler alert, there is no evidence. I have talked about this ad nauseum for any number of years. I eventually had gotten tired of it because it's like I keep saying the same thing over and over and over and over again, and logic seems to escape stupid fucking people, which I think is not only sad, but it's kind of funny in a sense. Because, it's funny when dogs chase their tails. It's not really so funny when humans do it, so that's the part that makes me sad. What's funny about it is that they have no shame in believing something without evidence to confirm it. That's what's funny to me. It shows you how childish and their kindergarten level understanding of how evidence and critical thinking work is laughable to me. These are grown adults acting like immature fucking high school, teenage, fucking drama, whatever. Like I'm in a high school musical with all these people who are just too stupid to understand that they're being lied to. I try to be nice to people. I have called out people in the past in these Daily Rant recordings. It's all there. I'm not hiding anything. And yeah, I've taken cheap shots at a lot of these people, no more than they've taken cheap shots at me. And someone who goes by the name Mateo Runs said that, oh, Mateo could kick his ass. Well, Mateo is a child, and I'm not going to fight with a child, although because it was the parent who wrote this, and he also said that I was harassing Mateo. I wasn't harassing Mateo. You can't harass someone who's going to willingly carry on a conversation with you. So there was no harassment. And that's usually the case with all the people I've ever had contact with before they started to quote-unquote hate on me, which there's no hate. And all these people who are putting my address, whatever, bring it. Bring it. I mean, there's someone who lives in St. Louis. You know, she's from Beaverton. They live in St. Louis, Michigan. Well, he needs his ass whooped. Well, fucking bring it then. You think I'm going to run? You think I'm going to hide? If you're going to kick my ass based on something you just read on social media, you're even fucking dumber than I thought. And it would probably be a waste of time to interact with a foolish individual. And there are a lot of foolish people out there. They have demonstrated that everything they read, they believe. Because they idolize someone so much that they are willing to believe every little thing that they are told. They tried dragging my friends into this. I'm not going to drop names, but they tried dragging my good friends into this to get them to turn on me. And it didn't work. Because they know better. If any of this were true, and I mean any of it, where I have done something felonious using a computer or any of the like that they're accusing me of doing, I would be sitting in jail. I would be sitting behind bars. I would be in prison. Because committing, by what they're saying, that's a felony. Asking perverted questions of a minor is a felony. They would have come in, they would have confiscated my computer, they would have, there would be all kinds of shit going on. None of that has happened. Why? Why hasn't it? Instead of bouncing around the claim on the internet that Jared is this horrible person, why don't you guys actively start doing something to have me put away when you can actually demonstrate and verify that I did in fact do these things? Now, if you're going to say that, oh, Jared was calling out all these people and saying horrible things about the parents, yes, I was. You know why? Because they want to believe or they don't want to believe. They're convinced. So they didn't choose to believe this. They are convinced of something without proof. It makes you pretty fucking stupid. It makes you really stupid. You're making decisions based on something you can't prove. And you know what the scary part of all that is? These people most likely serve on jury. They don't have evidence. They go by their feelings. Well, there's no evidence to show that he actually did it, but I have that feeling that maybe he did it. So we're just going to say he's guilty. So all of these people that you're reading comments on, or maybe you made a comment about me on Tattoo Tom's old posts or someone's bad posts, you are all in favor of injustice. You are proponents of injustice. And your only counter to that statement is, oh, Jared is just crazy. He's mentally nuts. He's unstable. Why? Because I speak the fucking truth? That's exactly why you think I'm nuts. That's your only response. That's the best you have? That's the best you have? That's the best defense? That's the best response you can come up with? You got to do better than that. Way better than that. You know, if I was in your position, and if I cornered you with the truth, I would say that I was nuts too. So, you're welcome. Moving on. If you know me personally, and if you've never had an issue with me, of course you haven't, because I'm not the kind of person who is going to make life difficult for people. They make it difficult for themselves by being who they are, thinking and believing the things they think and believe for no good reason. And I'm just here calling it out. Most of these people I have helped. And yes, I've written letters to the warriors. I've always said I love you and I wish you well. What's wrong with showing a little love and affection to a child who's battling cancer or who survived cancer? I don't think there's anything wrong with that. Not at face value. When you show love to a child, people like to assume that that's the kind of love you're referring to. And it's just really stupid, and it's irresponsible, and it's lazy to assume that. They use this idea that, Jared doesn't have kids and he doesn't have a girlfriend. Well, actually, I do have a girlfriend. I don't talk about her, but I do have a girlfriend. And she doesn't live far from me. She wants me to meet her parents. I'm going to make it happen pretty soon. So, I do have a girlfriend. I am speaking to a woman. Absolutely. I don't have kids. Sure, and neither does she. So by default, that makes me a creep? No, it doesn't make me a creep. There are lots of people out there who never had kids, and they have done more good in this world by improving the lives of other people than these idiots, these keyboard warriors who sit on their fat, lazy asses all day, writing out responses and just making veiled threats towards someone they don't know based on something they can't prove. It makes you look really fucking dumb. It makes you look irresponsible. It makes you look childish. And nobody should take you seriously. And mind you, these are grown adults. These are grown fucking adults acting like this. And all I'm saying is, if you've got evidence of me asking inappropriate questions of children, if you've got me on video, if you've got me in a recording asking questions, inappropriate questions of children, why don't you submit that to a police report? Submit it to the police. Put it in a police report. Do us all a favor and have me locked up if you think I'm really that kind of a person. Because this has been going on for many, 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 many years. Well, not many, 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 many. I'm exaggerating a little bit. About 10 years, they've been accusing me of doing horrible things. And when it came to Tattoo Tom, that was the straw that broke the camel's back, because he wants to be someone who's loved and revered and worshipped and looked up to. Well, now he's dead. So now you need somebody else to worship and adore and, look up to. And again, I'm not trying to be insensitive to his kids, because I imagine they're listening to this. And I do feel bad for them. I really do. And I'm not just saying that. I really and genuinely feel bad for them because they don't have their parents anymore. But, there's got to be some kind of responsibility here. If you're going to slander my name on the internet and you're going to say that I'm doing horrible things, and you know what? You deserve to be called out for being the fucking manipulative liar you are. And that's that. And I don't take any shame in that. They're trying to guilt me because I'm calling out people for lying about me. This has been going on for a long time, but I take no guilt, no regret, no shame. People like you should be fucking called out every fucking time, without regret, without remorse, and I'll do it over and over and over and over again. I will expose your flawed thinking until you start looking at things correctly as an adult and quit being stupid and willfully ignorant when you know better. And if I really and truly and sincerely was like this, you would have had me put away a long time ago. And yet here I am, October 2025. I'm still a free man. And it's not, well, Jared slipped through the cracks and he never got caught. No, you have to demonstrate what you're saying. You have to show that what you're saying is true and accurate. Do you have evidence for the claims being made? And if you don't, then shut your fucking flapping pie hole, because you have nothing to say about anything. And that's the truth. And I will continue to call out people who are stupid. I have no problem doing that. No issue. Oh, I bumped the mic. Sorry about that, guys. But so that's where we're at. So if you found this channel for good or for better or worse, for good or bad, my name is Jared Fuller. I am not a criminal. I am not a child predator. I don't do things like that. I don't viciously attack people unless I have a reason to verbally attack. Otherwise, you're going to get the good side of me. When you rub me the wrong way, when you double-cross me, when you talk shit about me, I'm going to defend myself because nobody else will. I will defend myself each and every fucking time. And let's never mind the fact that I drop a few F-bombs and I swear and I curse on occasion. Big deal. They're words. We're adults in a fucking society. Get over it. Grow up. Grow a pair. And stop being so damn childish. Oh, Jared said the F word. You're fucking right I did. You got a problem with it? Well, if you do, fuck you. This is who I am. So, to get that out there, I'm doing okay out here, actually. Again, I am always helping people. I'm doing the best I can to make sure that I'm taken care of, but I also take care of people I love and care about to the best of my ability. Like I said, I'm doing things, outside of, under the radar. I'm not doing things in the public eye because I don't need other families being harassed. So everything I do now is underground. I help people best I can, and I've helped a couple people already. And my voice cracks because I'm proud of myself. I don't normally gloat about that kind of thing. I don't brag about myself. I don't like people bragging about me. I just want to do what I want to do, help people, get on with my day, and get on with my life. And the people who I have helped behind the scenes, they know who they are and they know who I am. They know that I would never have any evil intentions whatsoever, and I don't. They call me Jared Bear because that's been my nickname since 1989. I've been a survivor for 36 years. That's always been my nickname. It's not, Jared, that just sounds creepy. They call him Jared Bear. Why does it sound creepy? Because someone else put a negative connotation on it and it just resonates with your preconceived notions about who I am? Well, that's your fucking problem. My nickname is Jared Bear because I am a child of cancer survivor. That's where that nickname came from. Whether you like it or not, that's the truth. You don't have to agree with it, but you'd be wrong. My nickname is Jared Bear because I am a child of cancer survivor and because I still have the teddy bear that my dad got me from the gift shop at Sparrow when I was in the hospital. I've still got him. And every time I meet a new warrior or even a survivor, I take my Jared Bear with me. I take him with me so that way the kids, the survivors, or the warriors, they can get a picture taken with Jared Bear. They can meet him and say that they met somebody who understands them personally. I don't blame the kids for the behaviors and the childish antics of grown-ass adults. And these are people who don't deserve children, period, if this is how they're going to behave. I mean, I've got people threatening to kick my ass, and, well, you know what? Bring it. I'll let you take the first swing, and I won't even swing back. But I will sue you, and you'll never mess with me again. I'll have you arrested, you'll be sued, and that'll be the end of that. And, Mateo runs, it's a kid who runs and raises money for the cancer kids. The parents, and it's sad that they call themselves parents, that they would even say, well, Mateo would kick Jared's ass. He's a child. I'm not interested in fighting children. I already fight children who like to pass themselves off as mature adults. If that's a fair statement, which I think it is. But I come to you today. I'm not ranting about anyone in particular, although I've dropped a few names in particular, but that's not what the Daily Rant is for. This is to explain to you, this is who I am. This is what I do. Whatever you read about me on the internet, you can just forget it. And why don't you come to me with questions? Why don't you find out from the horse's mouth directly, instead of getting bad information from the internet and just running with it because it matches your preconceived notions about me? Your preconceived notions about a person is not, it's not even who they are. It doesn't even come close. I've had preconceived notions about lots of people, and I was really fucking wrong. And I changed my mind about people. It's like, you know what? I used to think this about this person in my mind, but they're really not bad. They're not so bad after all. I got to know them, got to talk with them. We've had discussions about rumors that were being passed around by people about them. And it's like, I'm not going to just believe what a bunch of people tell me about you. Only you can convince me that you are what they say you are. That's it. Only you can convince me. I don't care if 1,000 people told me something horrible about you and all had the same alibi. If I can't prove it either way, and if you are nothing like they describe you, then I'm not going to believe them. Only you can convince me that what they're saying to me is true about you. That's how I operate. That's how I roll. And you can't, you can't get me to join your mob. You will never get me to join in your way of thinking. You can't recruit me. I am unrecruitable, if that's a word, which I highly doubt it is, but I'm going to use it in this context. You can't convince me of something just because a bunch of people say it. I don't care if a bunch of people say it. And I get this a lot too, where people are like, well, I would rather be wrong about you and protect my child. Okay, so let me get this right. Let me see if I'm understanding this correctly, just so we're clear. You're going to weaponize your children. What you're telling me is you're going to use your children as an excuse to be ignorant to what the facts actually are. I have nothing against protecting children, and you will never get a debate from me on that subject. We should protect children. We should be doing everything we can in our power to make sure that children are safe. But I'm not going to encourage you to be ignorant in the face of protecting children. You protect children from legitimate threats, not just because everybody on social media is saying it. You have to demonstrate that there's actual evidence for that claim being made. So you're willing to be ignorant. You're going to use your child as an excuse to be ignorant, which is not good parenting, by the way. You're right off the bat, to me, you're an awful parent for even suggesting that. And you are a proponent of injustice. So even if what they're saying about someone is wrong, or if it's not been factually proven to be the case, you're still going to willingly believe what you are told, although it might not be true. It's not smart. Being proactive is one thing, which I understand. Being proactive, saving your kids, protecting your kids, whatever the case may be. But you have to at least identify a threat first. Because in that case, you would make that same decision about every stranger in the world, that they are out to harm your children, when in fact they may not be. Which is why I say people like this who serve on a jury, they're the ones who worry me the most, because they are in favor of injustice. They are complicitly in favor of injustice by saying, well, I'd rather be wrong. Why would you rather be wrong when it's someone else's life hanging in the balance, especially if you're serving on a jury? You think someone else should be spending life in prison for a crime they actually didn't commit, but because you feel as though they did it? Well, your feelings don't matter. They don't fucking matter. Okay? They don't. Well, I don't care if it makes me a bad parent. Then give your kids up for adoption. If you don't care about being a bad parent, tell that to Child Protective Services. You don't care about being a bad parent. Tell them that. I'm sure they'd love to hear that. They would love to take your kids off your hands for nothing. And then you can go to family court and fight to get them back. It's all on the same measure. It's all on the same balance. So if you're in favor of injustice, you have no business having your children. CPS should be knocking on your door. And you should be behaving in a way that is, your level of thinking should be far more superior than this teenage drama high school fucking mentality that you harbor. You care, you're a grown adult. You're too old to be acting like this. You're in your 30s, 40s, 50s, maybe older, and you're acting like teenage kids. You're emulating the younger generations and thinking that you're justified because you are believing something without evidence to confirm that the claim is true. This is what high school kids do. This is the same shit that kids do when they want to lie to get somebody else in trouble. They make shit up to get back at somebody because they don't like them. Well, that's too bad. Your feelings are subjective. The only thing I care about are facts, which are objective. That's what we need to focus on. So, and I challenge anybody. If there's actual evidence out there that you can show me that would confirm anything is true, and I'm talking more about the felonious stuff, like I'm being accused of asking cancer warriors if chemo makes their pubic hair fall out, which is absolutely fucking stupid. I've had chemo and radiation. I don't need to ask questions like that anyway, let alone, I wouldn't ask such a perverted question. That's not where my mind is. It's not how I think. That's not how I work. So if you think, or if you actually have evidence, I don't care what you think, if you have actual evidence of me doing something felonious, what's the holdup? What are you waiting for? Put the shit on the police report. Now, Tattoo Tom tried to recruit all of his cult-following sheep to report me to the Michigan State Police. He told his cult-following sheep to report my YouTube channel. He actually instructed people, his sheep, his cult-following sheep, to do exactly what he said. And no one finds fault with that. No one thinks that's weird. And I'm the weird one. And grown people should be able to think for themselves instead of being directed by a mob to do something. You are your own fucking person. Act like you've got a brain. Act like you've got some balls. Act like you have a spine. And more importantly, act like you've got some fucking integrity. Because your integrity at this point has gone out the window. You have none. You are not somebody that I would trust. You are not someone that I would want around me. After everything I've done my absolute best to try to show love and compassion to the entire childhood cancer demographic. Most people want to view it in a sexual way. Maybe I'm not the problem. Maybe it's how you people think. You resort to something dark when I have no intentions of ever being dark or perverted or sexual with anybody's minor children. That to me is the most absurd thing I have ever heard in my life. The most absurd thing. And it's still on Facebook. If you look up Tom Mitchell, look up Jared Fuller, Tom Mitchell. He's bashing me and slandering me. The poster's still there. I tried to get Facebook. I tried to get Facebook to take the post down. They won't. But but I'm Meta verified, so I should be able to contact someone at Meta to get these posts taken down, because this is absurd. And here, I mean, Tattoo Tom is dead. He's not even fucking alive anymore. And people are still seeing this shit, and all these people commenting, oh, he's so bad, he's so horrible, he's so this, he's so that. They have accused me of saying, well, Jared, you should hear some of the awful things he says about the cancer parents. Yeah, you should. You should actually get on here and listen to some of the things I say about the parents. It's called payback. See, it's not retaliation. It's called payback. And payback is a motherfucker. Especially when you fuck with the wrong person. Because I hold their feet to the fire. And that makes me a bad person, because I make them be accountable for the shit they want to foist around to everybody else. And, oh, Jared is this horrible person. Am I? Am I really? If you think I'm a horrible person, and if you can prove it with evidence, then prove it. Put it in a police report. But if you can't, shut up and sit the fuck down. Because nobody's going to listen to you. Nobody should care to listen to you. And by the way, congratulations on showing the rest of us the kind of immoral fucking liar you are. Because that's exactly what you are. You are a dishonest person. You use your kids as an excuse to be stupid and ignorant and condescending. Well, you are a horrible parent for doing so. You should have your children taken away from you. Child Protective Services should be showing up at your door. I don't care if you've got everything you need for your kids. You're a fucking horrible parent. You are disgusting. And you call yourself a parent, which is frightening. That's frightening to me. You can make whatever decision you want by blocking me. I don't care. I'm not concerned about that. But you're going to go on and actually write something on someone else's post saying that I'm horrible and I've done this and I've done that. You need to demonstrate with evidence that what you're saying is true. Otherwise, we can just write you off as a fucking liar. Which I have already done with a lot of these people. Well, he uses profane language. Shut the fuck up. As if you don't, and as if you've never heard it before. Really, we're adults in a fucking society. Get over yourself. I mean, grow up, really. Sincerely, truly. Grow the fuck up. Stop being a fucking baby, and start acting like an adult. If that's all you got by saying that Jared curses and Jared says horrible things, then you've already lost. Every person who comments on that Tom Mitchell post or Justina Banks or whatever, you have fucking lost. If you are also accusing me and claiming that I have done something horrible to you or your family when I actually didn't, and I don't even know most of the people who are commenting. I've never had one single conversation with a good majority of them. None of the names ring a bell. None of them sound familiar, not even remotely. I could show you the people I've talked to. You people need to grow up. And this is why I say that social media, right when Facebook launched in 2004 it was, in 2004, I was just turning 18 years old that year. I fucking knew that it was going to be a bad idea. It was going to be a bane on society. And my suspicions were confirmed by seeing how people use social media to weaponize people. They weaponize social media to attack people. They weaponize social media to get back at people by making up fabricated stories. I mean, my God, if you put as much effort and thought into a fabricated story, just imagine how so much better you would be as a human being if you actually told the fucking truth. I mean, doesn't it make sense to you? You know it makes sense to you, but you can't admit that, because if I admit that Jared Fuller's right, then that's going to go against this mob mentality that I have been a part of for all these years, and I'm stuck. You're all just really sad cases if you're going to believe something you read on Facebook. And as I've always pointed out, Justina Banks, show us your face. If you want to be a purveyor of truth and you're all about truth and getting me in trouble, or trying to anyway, the first thing you could do is show us who you are. Why are you fighting us on your identity, quote unquote, Justina Banks? If you're as true as you say you are, show us your face. And if you can't do that, then that's already the first sign. If you fight someone when they ask you to show your identity, and if you fight them on it, you've already lost. And the fact that someone would create a fake account specifically to slander and bash me already makes you look fucking horrible. You're already dishonest. Because Justina Banks isn't a real person. I mean, there's a real person behind the account, but the name doesn't match the person. That's why they won't show a picture of who they are. And just like there's a group on Facebook called Child of Cancer Families Exposing Jared Fuller. There's only 3 people in the group. They're not making any kind of impact. I guarantee it. And they want to, again, they're another group of people who they want to put themselves on a pedestal as being the purveyors of truth, but yet they tell you don't share anything outside of this group. Well, if you have evidence of wrongdoing, then what are you hiding? You would be impeding an investigation that could have someone put away. I mean, you're claiming that I've done all these horrible things to children, like asking if chemo makes them lose their pubic hair. So if you're not willing to show the evidence of that, that makes you a suspect. You are impeding justice. It's what do you call that? You are, yeah, impeding. It's not the word. They have a phrase for it. It is obstruction of justice. So that's what I was looking for. Obstruction of justice. If you know something and you claim that it's true and you're not showing evidence for it, well, that makes you a suspect. And I could very well get all of you on obstruction of justice charges. So if I were you, I would stop while I was ahead. I would just stop and say, you know what? Jared's right. We made the whole thing up to burn him. Because for whatever reason, we just don't like Jared. I don't care that you don't like me. It doesn't give you the right to lie about me. There's a lot of people I don't like. And yeah, I've said some things here in my daily rants that are not true about some people. But see, that's because at that point, I am retaliating. If you're going to lie about me, I'm going to lie about you. And if it does go to court, guess what? It's going to get thrown out because we'd both be at fault. So if you're going to make something up about me, at least make sure you've got your shit straight. Make sure you're telling the truth. And if you have actual evidence of me doing something wrong, put it in a police report. You know, time's ticking. I'm going to be 40 next year. I don't have a criminal record. Never been in prison. I've been in jail once, but not for anything that they're accusing me of doing. It was because of my brother's girlfriend accusing me of shoving her, putting my hands on her when I never did, and there were witnesses to confirm that. They threw it out of court because, you know, I took it to trial. They threw it out of court. Nothing come of that. I don't hurt people. I help people. And I have a right to have an opinion about something that I disagree with. Much like all of you listening to this and everybody that I ever come in contact with, you have a right to your opinion. But I'll be damned if I'm going to sit here and read up on all the shit that people are accusing me of doing. And it's like, you know, you're all accusing Jared of being this horrible, terrible person Why don't you actually put it to action? Why don't you guys actually try to have him locked up? Or are you just lying about him because you don't like him? And where most people's logic is, well, there's no way that this many people can be speaking against Jared and none of it be true. Actually, no. Ask any of them to show evidence of wrongdoing. I've admitted just a minute ago that, yes, I have said some pretty harsh things about a lot of parents in the child of cancer world because they started on me first. They're fucking ignorant. And I'm going to call out the stupidity. I don't even care so much anymore that people block me on Facebook. Chances are good that I probably wouldn't have ever talked to them anyway. I wouldn't have ever met them, which, oh well, who cares? But I'm not going to stop being the person I am, helping other people, keeping my nose clean, staying out of trouble, because that's what I do and that's who I am and that's what I'm about. I don't care if you personally don't like me. That's not my fucking problem. I have bigger fish to fry. I have more important shit to be focused on than to worry about who likes me and who doesn't. That's the least of my concern. I don't care. I'm not losing sleep. But seems you're here, I figured I would kind of inform everybody that this is everything I said is true. And if you have questions, email me, jsf48616@aol.com. You can find my email address in the About tab section of this YouTube channel. jsf48616@aol.com. Email me. Ask me questions. Because I'm going to demand evidence. If you're going to make a claim that I've done something wrong, you need to confirm and verify with evidence that what you're saying is true. Otherwise, I'm going to expose you as being the fucking liar you are. And everybody's going to know. Everybody's going to know. So I'm advising you to be very careful with how you approach me. We can either have the conversations and be honest about who we are, or I can fucking embarrass the fuck out of you so badly that no one's going to look at you the same ever again for being such a fucking pathetic liar. It's up to you. The choice is yours. And the reason why so many people will not engage me is because they fucking know that what I'm saying is true. They know that what I am saying is the flat out truth. Anybody listening to this knows the truth. None of this happened. Jared has been calling you out for ages, and none of you people, you cowards, you keyboard warriors, won't fucking confront Jared face to face. You won't call him, you won't text him, you won't email him, you won't do shit. Instead, you hide behind your little fucking keyboard and run off at your cocksuckers about someone you don't like and making claims about things that did not happen, and then you try to convince other gullible people of believing. You are a miserable person. You do not deserve your children. They deserve better. And I mean, you're trying to set a good example for your kids, and this is the shit that your kids are going to pick up on. To be liars. Raise your kids to be liars. Well, that's fine, because the world is not going to take lightly to that. They're going to chew them up and spit them out. I don't want that to happen, but you have to be better at parenting. And furthermore, here's the thing too that I had overlooked, and I probably should have mentioned this in the early part of this recording, and that is, you're the ones putting your kids out there on public display. I'm not exploiting your children. You are. You're the ones putting your kids out there. Now, not everybody exploits their kids. Most people mean well by saying, hey, this is my child, this is my GoFundMe, we're trying to raise money so I can get my child what they need because they're in treatment and things are getting kind of rough financially. Please help if you can, if you feel inclined. I don't have a problem with that. But then there are parents in the child and cancer world who are using their children as meal tickets to get free handouts. And I could name off and rattle off a bunch of people who have done this. But I won't. Because if you look long enough, you will see how people operate on social media. Social media is the kiss of death on society. I had that suspicion in 2004. I was 17 going on 18 when Facebook was first launched. I had that sneaky suspicion about social media, especially Facebook. That's why I didn't join Facebook right then and there. It took me 6 years to make up my mind about Facebook after the fact, after it was launched. I joined Facebook in 2010. And I've been on and off Facebook for the past 15 years. And nothing's changed. It's only gotten worse. Because you have people who are so pathetic that they let social media do their thinking for them. I don't let social media do my thinking for me. If I have an idea about something, I'll share it with my friends. I'll share bits and pieces of my life with people who are interested in knowing the truth. But I will not fabricate a story to ruin somebody. I will never do that. Even if they've wronged me in the worst way you could think, I would never do something so heinous and childish and just so immaturely that I would ruin someone's name. I'm above all that shit. I'm not better than these people, but when it comes to maturity, I am miles above them. Because I don't make shit up. And I sure as hell don't expect people to believe anything I tell them unless I can prove it. So, you know who I am now. I'm genuinely a good guy. My bills are always paid. I'm the youngest of 3 boys. My mom passed away a couple years ago as a result of cancer. She died in my hands. As most people know, because I talk about this quite a bit. And I'm doing the best I can every day to try to make this world a better place. I'm one person, and one by one, I am trying to make life a little easier for people. And I try to show kindness, even in a world that is so fucking cruel, and the world is on fire. And despite the fact that I go off on a rant about individuals here, or maybe just in general like I'm doing here now, it's frustration. Because I expect better from people who would rather be childish and listen to one sentence of anything I've ever released on this channel, and they make judgments about me based on one statement. You know, Tom Mitchell tried that once before. He says, well, Jared's in favor of child molestation and child rape. No, I'm not. I'm not. What I said was, and I'll say it again, and I still stand by this to this day, there are pedophiles out there. There are people who are, in fact, attracted to children. Now, it's not right. However, if they have those thoughts, which nobody could possibly know what the thoughts are all in a person's mind. And it's none of your business to know what they're thinking. You have no right to know what a person is thinking unless they share that with you. Now, if those people who are attracted to young people, if they don't act out on their thoughts, they should be lauded for it. They should get a round of applause because they controlled themselves. They realize that this is different, this is wrong. I know this is wrong and I'm not going to do it. I have to control myself. That's not the same thing as me saying I condone child molestation and child rape, because I don't. I don't condone pederasty. Child molesters and rapists ought to be hung. There should be a public hanging. A public noose. But I'm not judge, jury, and executioner. That's why we have a system that takes care of all that stuff for us. and those people who are found to be guilty of a crime pay a penalty for it. But I'm not in any way saying that it's okay to go out and rape and molest people. No, it's not. I'm saying if you have that thought, you should be grateful and thankful that you're not acting on your thoughts. It's no different than saying, well, I want to punch somebody in the face, or I'm going to burn down this whatever. We just had a shooting at a church here in Michigan a couple Sundays ago. It was in Grand Blanc, Michigan. We had a church shooting, and the church was set on fire by someone who served in the military. And it was fueled by religious differences. He had the thought in mind. You can think whatever you want. It's not, we don't have thought crime legislation in America. What you think, the thoughts you have, whether they're clean, dirty, whatever, no one's business but yours. And no one has a right to access your thoughts. It's when you act on those thoughts. We punish actions, not thoughts. And if you consider that as me saying that I condone child molestation and rape, you're even dumber than I fucking thought. Because I do not condone child abuse. Physical, sexual, mental, emotional, doesn't matter. I don't condone abuse of children anywhere, anytime, any place, any kind, any type. I condemn it. I don't condone it. And it was merely a statement that we don't have thought crime legislation, and the people who think that we should have thought crime legislation, if you think that that's how this country should operate, we would all be sitting behind bars. There would hardly be anybody in general population to keep the world going, to keep the wheels spinning. So think about that for a minute. We don't have thought crime legislation, and you're awfully glad of that. I know deep down you are. You should be glad of that. We only punish actions. We don't punish thoughts. That was the point I made. I could have a thought to rob a bank. I could have a thought to set someone's house on fire. I could have a thought to punch someone in the face. I could have a thought to attack someone with a baseball bat. I don't encourage these things. I could have those thoughts, but it doesn't mean I'm actually doing it or will do it. It's no different. It's all the same thing. It's nobody else's business what I think. It's none of my business what your thoughts are. It's none of your business what anybody's thoughts are. And how dare Jared say that? Because, so he wants to hide pedophiles and rapists. No, I'm not saying that at all. I'm not saying that at all. I'm saying that a person's thoughts are none of your fucking business. If they have the thought and they don't act on the thought, good for them. And we should be applauding that. We should be encouraging that. You have a thought and you're not acting on your thoughts, good for you. Keep it up. Keep up the good work. But when I say it, it's wrong because it sounds like, oh, Jared's defending pedophiles and rape. No, I'm not. No. Pedophilia is an attraction to young people. Pederasty is the crime committed on children. We punish pederasty, not pedophilia. The mere thought is not something that you can punish someone for. We don't live in that world. And no, by the way, I'm not a pedophile. I'm not. But anyway, guys, I'm going to end it on that note. Like I said, you're here because you probably read something horrible about me on Facebook, or you're here because, hey, you know me, and we've had decent conversations, and you've been to my house, we've met up, we've talked, we've had really good discussions, and the interactions have been positive and fruitful, and I appreciate that, I really do. And if you genuinely Want to know more about me? Email me. jsf48616@aol.com. Message me. If you have questions, please don't hesitate to ask. Don't be, hiding behind a keyboard like a coward, like a weasel, and making veiled threats like Mateo runs. Oh, Mateo could kick Jared's ass. Well, I'm not interested in duking it out with a child. And the fact that you would encourage your child to be violent and act out violence, you are a fucking horrible parent. And CPS should be knocking on your door. And Mateo should be going with somebody else. Because he has parents who, apparently, according to them, a child could whip my ass. I'm not interested. I don't care. You people are really fucking stupid. Stupid. So, that was all I wanted to get out there. That's all I really wanted to talk about. I've been here for over an hour. I appreciate you guys sticking around to the very end. I'm not a mean person. I'm not an angry person. I'm not spiteful of people. I'm nice to everybody. My default position is I'm nice to everybody until I'm given a reason to not be nice, and then you get to decide, are you going to be my friend or are you going to be my enemy? And I would advise you to choose very wisely. So, that concludes this recording of the Daily Rant. My name is Jared Fuller, a.k.a. Jared Bear. I'll have some more content uploaded very soon. So, until then, thanks for listening. Toodaloo!